move.
He's gonna sit right in the middle.
I'm gonna go over there.
I said to Patrick, she won't bother me.
Thanks for making me sound that lonely over here.
Alright. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:33 PM. Roll call, please.
Rack. Espinosa.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Cost.
Here.
Landers.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Comitas.
Here. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda. Second? Second. And roll call?
Espinosa.
Yes.
Cost.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Comitas.
Yes. Do we have any public comment this evening? Okay. We have a motion for consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. 5.1, disposition of minutes for January 2026. 5.2, payment of bills. 5.3, district treasurer's report. 5.4, interest and activity fund report, cafeteria report. 5.5, personnel report.
And a second?
Second.
And roll call?
Comitas.
Yes.
Landers.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Cost.
Yes.
Schrader. Yes. Espinosa.
Yes.
6.1, FOIA requests.
Like I think every district in the state of Illinois, we did have a FOIA request for background checks of school board members, which isn't a thing. And so this person, who I believe is in the suburbs somewhere, is now going to court trying to get all tax levies ruled as, I don't know, unlawful because school board members don't have background checks, which is not part of the law. So anyway, he's gonna have all kinds of fun with that. And a lot of attorneys are gonna get paid, but we did have that one.
Okay. 6.2, administrator reports.
Yeah, a couple pieces before we get to our Lincoln presentation. The high school board is interested in a joint dinner. I think the tentative date that we had put out there was March 10th. So I think we're just gonna do a dinner together and social and try to just spend some time together. So check your calendars, and if for some reason you can't make that, let me know.
They have a new member too.
What's that?
They have a new member.
They do have a new member. And then the other thing is, it's really nice, it's great timing that we're in this room, because one of the things that we're currently getting bids for is some summer work, and part of the summer work is actually to have this room divided. I don't know if you've ever been here during the school day, but very often we have students in the hallway in front of the office for a variety of reasons, and so we have a proposal to divide this room kind of right across from where Amanda is sitting straight out, put a door here into the office, and then also there would still be plenty of room on the other side for meetings like this, and then there would be a separate door to the hallway over there. And so would be much more conducive for our office staff to be able to work with kids, in quiet, to be able to regulate them, to not have them, to allow them to calm down and work through things while they're not out in the hallway where people are passing by. So it's good that we're in this room. Other than that, we are at Lincoln. It's we're on the back half of the school year, which means that this is the first school of our board tour as we go to the different buildings, and at each stop, we are asking the principals to kind of give us a little update on some of the things that have been going on in their buildings. And in addition to that, this year, we have asked our first year staff members and our retiring staff members to come. And so, the board gives the opportunity for the board to not only see new faces, but also give a personal thank you to people who have really dedicated you know, a big chunk of their lives to the children of Mendota in 289. And so, Principal Albers, do you want to get us started?
Yeah,
Maybe by
absolutely.
making some introductions?
I will,
and-
yeah. So I'm going to start with my new teachers sitting in the back row here. In 3rd grade, Miss Sydney Wright. In 2nd grade, Miss Madison Bean. And at Blackstone and Lincoln in our music program, Mrs. Samantha Farr. We also have the gentleman who hired my 2 retirees here tonight. I think I'm supposed to thank him, but they're 2 of my honorarists, so we're losing some honorary members of our staff here. So Mr. Abel's here supporting them.
That's not cool.
So my lead teacher, special education resource teacher also, Mrs. Amy Leffelman, will be retiring this year. And the first teacher I knew here in Mendota, though she doesn't remember it, is Mrs. Petra Estrada. She was working as a secretary when I did an internship with the Migrant Summer Program back in the day. So I was just telling Amy, she was talking about her first year, and Petra couldn't remember what her first year was either. Was it vice versa? But I said, I was 2 years old, so it's well deserved.
She's older tonight for you guys.
It's well deserved.
Okay.
And
there we are. Oh.
So yeah, we're losing 2 very great staff members who have a well-deserved retirement. Petra was talking about her plans for spending time with her mother and her grandchild in retirement and finding that time to volunteer and do all the things. And Amy's got another new grandbaby on the way too, so lots of fun things for these 2 in retirement. And, our tier 2 teachers, only, how many more years for you to go?
Don't count.
So for my presentation tonight, I wanted to give you guys an update of what's been happening at Lincoln since my last presentation. I do have just a little bit of a packet for you with some of our committee updates. And then I have some fun pictures to show you of the fun stuff that's been happening this year as well. Hi, Holly. All right, so when we last spoke, we talked about how we were going to really start working towards the norms here at Lincoln. With administrator switchover and a lot of new teachers, we kind of didn't know what we didn't know, and we wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page. So one thing that the staff brought back that they had done in the past is the Lincoln School Creed. And this is just starting our day each morning with what we, as a staff, what we want our students to truly believe. So when we do the pledge in the morning, we also say our Lincoln School Creed. So at Lincoln School, we are respectful, responsible, and safe. Lincoln School is a better place because I am here today. And I always end my announcements with, it's a great day to be a Lion. And I truly believe that. I think this is a great place to be, and I want our students to have that home and feel safe here. So my son, for some reason, hates the Lincoln School Creed, though, and gets very angry that we have to say it every day. So Heather Waldron likes to tease me about that a little bit. I said I'm going to get a shirt made for him with it. So one of the committees we spoke about was our school improvement team and what we were going to be working towards this year. And since our last meeting, we've really started digging into those norms. So our goal was to review, establish, and communicate school-wide norms in the areas of behavioral systems, attendance, arrival and dismissal, intervention and MTSS, consistency in grading, and communication. So in that packet is the different areas that we've focused on so far this year and what the committee has come up with as our norms. As we have set those norms, it's been communicated out at team meetings, at staff meetings, and it's also posted on our teacher landing page, which is a Google Doc that has any calendars or important documents that they may need throughout the year. This will be a very nice thing to have going into next year as we kind of start the year off for any new staff members, or just kind of as reminders of kind of what the expectations are and what we truly drive for as a staff. So far this year, we have, as a Paw Pride Committee, looked at our behavior systems. So towards the end of your packet is kind of our plan to transition our students. At Northbrook, they use an X system for behaviors. Here at Lincoln, we have the PAWS. We have found, especially our 4th graders, do not have buy-in for the PAWS. I would say by October, it's just not developmentally appropriate as much anymore. Plus, we need to prepare them for Northbrook. So next year, they're going to be using the X system that is completely in line with what 5th grade has. We're going to start that transition in third trimester for our fourth graders this year. And that has been communicated out to parents. A letter was sent home. Teachers talked with parents at parent-teacher conferences about this as well. We have our big Paw Pride Assembly next week, and we'll be kicking that off with students to introduce that system. Because our fourth grade is moving to this model next year, the third graders who will be fourth graders are also going to transition in third trimester to this X system to prepare them for fourth grade. This was a decision by our Paw Pride Committee, and I think it really helps us be that bridge. You know, Lincoln is that weird in-between school sometimes, where we get the kids over and they're still Blackstone kids when they come in at second grade, and we really need to prepare them to be Northbrook students. So really looking how we can more efficiently, you know, transition and be that bridge. As a school improvement team, we have looked at attendance, arrival and dismissal, and communication. The areas that we're going to continue looking at are our intervention and MTSS, kind of like our data digs and our tier 3 problem solving, and what those are going to look like, and make sure that all staff is on board with how those tier 3 problem solving meetings run. And then consistency and grading carries over from CSS, our committee that we have looking at consistency in the district. And we're really going to dig in here at Lincoln. Some things we've noticed are like teachers spend all of these time in their team meetings going through how many points everything is worth. And then sometimes we look at our grade book at the end of the trimester and there's still some inconsistencies. So, you know, showing teachers, kind of having those conversations with teachers about how often we're updating our grade books, you know, making sure that if we're doing it in a paper grade book, how often does it get translated over to Teacherese so parents are seeing those and we're as consistent as possible. Also, you know, there's some objectivity in grading. So looking at how we can make sure that certain things can be, you know, as specific as possible. And then Paw Pride Committee, like we just talked about, we're going to be really looking at that transition from Paw Pride time and the golden tickets to the X's system that they use at Northbrook. All right, so now for some of the fun that we've had going on here. So we really like to shout our student successes from the rooftop. Every Friday, something that we have is Fist Bump Friday. It's tied into our Paw Pride system, so the tickets that the kids earn every Friday, a kid from the class gets their name drawn to come down for a prize and a fist bump in the office. It just keeps that positive reinforcement going more than just at the assemblies. We also have our Reach Award winners, so it's Real Effort and Citizenship Honor. Is that a Mr. Abel original? Still carrying over?
Reader and Dicker.
Very nice. So that is, you know, a tradition that's been here at Lincoln for a very long time, but it is, you know, a very nice way to recognize those students who go above and beyond. We make sure they're announced on the announcements, and then we have a pizza party for them. We did move it this year to the gym because the kids want that time to go in and play and, you know, not just sit in the AP room and have their pizza. So we have a pizza party in the gym. They get some time to play, and then they get to go back to their classes and, you know, enjoy that. So, and these at the bottom are our John Orth winners. We really look at our goals for our students, that, you know, being respectful, being responsible, and being safe. And teachers in fourth grade each nominate a male and a female student in their classes. We send that out to all staff and staff votes. So this year our winners are Lila Cervantes Escatel and Manny Quintana. So next Wednesday we will be going to a breakfast at Streeter High School where they'll get a plaque and they'll be honored for all of their great work here. So out and about this year, some things that we've been out of the building doing. Every year the Lincoln students attend the Veterans Day ceremony. This year we really tried to tie in maybe a little bit more history building and understanding what it is we're going to the Veterans Day ceremony for. Something that was alarming to them was the 21 gun salute. So we did some background and history on what that is and what to expect before they went, to hopefully, you know, allow them to get a little bit more out of going and really realize what we're there honoring. And then we also, our third and fourth grade students visit the library each year. So our third grade students already made their trip. And we know that Emily does such a nice job running that program there. So she shows them the different things that they offer, how to check out books, how to get a library card. And it's a really great opportunity for our kids. Grandparents' Day, the only pictures I had at the moment were of my my family, but what we do is we invite our grandparents in for a big open house. This year we had over 300 grandparents in the building. It was very, very, very busy. Stacy Kelly and I talked about how we maybe break that up next year because her building was crazy also. Just to make sure that they get the time, because we like them to go around. They do a scavenger hunt and find different things and show their grandparents different parts of the building, and then we have cookies and juice and everything for them. And I feel like sometimes they wait in line longer than they're doing anything, but the grandparents love coming here, and the kids love showing everything to them and introducing their teachers. But yeah, so 300 was a lot in here this year. Our fourth grade this year, we have our new CKLA reading curriculum, and part of their units are poetry. So they organized a poetry cafe in each of their classrooms where students had been writing their own poetry throughout these units, and then they got to select 2 poems, one of their own and one from somebody else to present. Parents were invited in to come watch these performances. They provided treats for the kids dressed in all black and gave each other snaps, and really got a chance to showcase all the work they've been working on that unit. Some community involvement this year. Our third grade before Christmas did a canned food drive. We were able to donate over 100 pounds of food this year to them, which doesn't seem like a lot, but right before Christmas, when there are food shortages and everything going on, we were really proud of all the work that they did organizing that. And then our fourth graders sell candy canes every year, and they donate that to a local organization. This year they raised $1,090 for the Mendota Food Pantry. So they came and they collected their food and the money for the donation from our fourth grade students. It was our 9th annual Guns N' Hoses event this year. If you don't know what that is, if you hear the sirens in Mendota, right around October, the police and fire departments and EMTs come in and play a kickball game against our fourth graders each year. It's a huge turnout of the police and fire. There's a big parade that comes in of all of the emergency vehicles. Our fourth graders, it's the morning, we have like 0 absences, 0 tardies because they're out there on the blacktop ready to go. We usually do like 3 real innings, and then we just make sure every fourth grader gets a chance to kick and run the bases. The fire and police are wonderful about, oh, oops, I dropped it, or, overthrowing the bases. The kids talk a lot of trash, but it's a lot of fun. We kind of like to tease them that we win every single year. I don't know how that pans out. And then we got a big group picture with all of the fire and EMT and our fourth graders who were there that day. A new tradition we started this year to kind of increase parent involvement and do something maybe a little bit different than classroom parties was trunk or treat. We did have 22 parents sign up this year, and I think of the 22, 18 showed up for the actual event, one of which was Sarah. So our parents came out. It was amazing. They decorated their vehicles. Our students had a chance to go around and collect the goodies. They got class pictures. We had parents and grandparents dressed up out there on the blacktop. We hope to continue to grow that. It was just, I think, a really neat way to get involvement. And Mr. Strauss even dressed up for Halloween on that day as our loved Leo the lion. Mrs. Estrada's class has been working with a pen pal. Petra, do you mind just talking a little bit, just because I know this is very special to your heart, just about who she is?
Margot Stauffer is a community member, and when her husband passed away, her daughter Randy contacted me and said, Mom's having a really difficult time with the passing of Dad, can she help you out in your classroom? And it was during COVID, so she made masks for all my students, and then she started writing to them, and then my students would write back to her, and since COVID, since all of that, she's continued that. And my students are learning how to write letters, postcards. We actually wrote her reflection pages where they talk about what it means to have her as a pen pal, and we addressed an envelope, which we don't do that anymore, and put a stamp on it and mailed it to her, and she's been doing this faithfully since then. This is what she got them for Christmas. Each child got an owl, a stuffed owl, and she got them at PetSmart. So she talked about how she's helping the kiddos and at the same time helping animals. The kids love her, and she was glass. I mean, everyone remembers her since those years because they remember her throughout the years. And so that communication between her and my kids has been phenomenal, and I just love Margot and Randy, and it's like we're both mutually helping each other through difficult times.
Yeah.
so.
And she carries that over into our third grade group
Yeah.
that's with Mrs. Freund as well. So for 2 years, you know, they're pen pals and they do this program, which is just great. She comes in and delivers these once a month and talks to Holly and I in the office and kind of catches up on everything that's going on. So it's a really great kind of community piece and a great tie for our students as well. So we will make sure that that tradition lives on here. All right, some fun, just some random fun we have going on. I am a diehard Packers fan. And this is killing me to have on here, but we've had a little bit of fun this year taunting each other over Bears and Packers. Amy may encourage it a little bit, but one day, on a random day, we had all of these students show up in Bears jerseys to school. I couldn't quite understand how that happened, but I think there may have been some teachers and lunch people behind that organization. So we have a lot of fun with that. Now we're going into Cardinals Cup season, so we'll have fun with that one as well. And then this is a new club that we have here at Lincoln School. This is our 4th grade kindness club. Kim Menzel organized this club this year as a way to really encourage kindness and also leadership in our 4th graders. So some things that they have done, they made bird feeders and they put them outside on the trees. They made valentines for the people over at Stonecroft. She was talking about how they are looking at organizing, maybe going over after cold and flu season to play bingo with them at Stonecroft. For Teacher Appreciation Week, they have some things planned, I think, for staff members. So this is just, and you know, really we try to encourage anyone who wants to be part of this to be part of this and really just encourage that love for, you know, kindness and taking care of others. So this has been, they've had 3 official meetings so far and they've done a lot in that time. So I can't wait to see how it continues to grow. So we have our 100th day of school, our students dressed up as 100-year-olds. And then we have Santa and Mrs. Claus came and visit and brought socks for each of the kids at Christmas time. So each of the kids got a candy cane and a pair of socks from Santa Claus. Santa likes to tell puns and jokes that our 2nd graders definitely do not get. But, you know, they laugh at them nonetheless. By the time we get to 4th grade, they usually understand them a little bit better, but 2nd graders just kind of smile and nod. And then, you know, every Friday we have our school spirit here that we're dressed up in our Lincoln attire. You know, our fist bump Fridays, our Lincoln school. So there's me and my Delaney all dressed up the same that day. And then we also make sure that we're supporting our high school in that transition over to Mendota High School. So when the soccer team was going on to state, we were out cheering them on. Kids came in their purple and gold for homecoming as well. And, you know, I just love that we continue that passion for where all these kids are going to be going in high school and supporting them as well. And then, like I said, how I end every single announcement every single day is, it's a great day to be a Lion. So that's what's been happening since the last time that I spoke to you guys. I think, you know, going forward, we still continue really looking at those norms and continue looking at how Lincoln serves as that bridge and that we're consistent with Blackstone and Northbrook, which is sometimes a tricky piece, you know, and making sure that our students are as successful as they can be. So thank you.
Any questions for Principal Albers? If you don't mind, can you give us a quick update? I know we've had a lot of meetings and conversations on departmentalization at Lincoln.
Absolutely. So we are knees deep in scheduling right now. So we kind of took our departmentalization committee and looked at what were the top concerns and priorities of, you know, each of our teams, specials teams and the grade level teams. And then we had a subcommittee of kind of people who were interested in helping with that schedule piece. We have, I would say, a schedule that I think is maybe 95% there right now for next year. Keeping in mind that anything we do does affect Blackstone and Northbrook because we share staff members was kind of a piece that we had to look at. So what it's looking like for next year is 4th grade is going to be departmentalizing. And our 2nd and 3rd grade for the following for this year are not going to departmentalize. We're going to stay self-contained. I think, you know, the piece of we don't know yet with it. You know, as we talked about it, like we have kids with executive functioning needs that we're like, you know, maybe we need a consistent way to turn in papers from teacher to teacher if they're going to 4 classrooms. So to really get it solid in 4th grade with some of our older students, I think is step number 1. And then we look at if that would be effective and appropriate for our 3rd graders, the, you know, subsequent years. So right now our committee members have those schedules to bring back to their teams, kind of do that final problem solving layer. Stacy and Paula both have the schedules as well to look at, you know, their buildings and how that affects them. And then we kind of start looking at our placements of our teachers and who's gonna be teaching what, using our ECRIS data as, you know, one piece of that. I also sent out a confidence and interest survey to our 4th grade teachers to kind of gain their insights into, you know, what they wanna be teaching, and then having those one-on-one conversations with them as well. It's opened up a lot of really interesting conversations as well about how, you know, social studies can support ELA, how science can support math, and really making sure that if we're doing this, we're going to have those cross-curricular ties and have that ability to do it, because right now, to get science and social studies in some days with a reading curriculum that's 120 minutes is not possible. So this kind of allows us that ability to make sure those kids are getting what they need before they get to Northbrook.
Would it be fair to say that 4th grade is at this point in time leaning towards departmentalization,
Yes.
but the other two are kind of in a wait and see for future years?
Correct, yep. I would say 2nd grade, I think the overall feeling was they did not feel that that was appropriate for 2nd graders. We're really just trying to get them into our building. We are really just trying to acclimate them to our rules and everything that we have here. 3rd grade, would say was pretty open to the conversation if we can find a way to make it work and make it appropriate for our kids. So I think in subsequent years, looking at 3rd grade next would kind of be the next logical step. I was also gonna update on the boards. Could I talk about that a little
For
bit?
sure.
So we've got 2 Promethean boards in here that we are trialing right now. So tomorrow they'll go to their first 2 teachers who are gonna spend a month with the boards. It's 2 2nd grade teachers, so Tanya Blue and Kelly Becker are gonna start with the boards for a month. And then we have a couple 3rd and 4th grade teachers, 4 total, who are going to spend a month with the boards as well, and really see if they serve our curriculum a little bit better than our current technology. We have the Mentos and the projectors. If you're a downstairs classroom, sometimes it's dizzying to watch the board because as kids walk, it shakes. But also, a lot of our curriculum is, you know, on the projector now. The reading has a whole component that needs to be projected. So to be able to interact and have the students interact as well is really important. So the feedback that we're really looking for is usability, but also how our curriculum works with these versus our current technology, to see if that's something that, you know, the district can invest in going forward for, you know, not just our building, but other buildings too. So our teachers are really excited at the prospect of this. So I thought I'd present on it tonight because I'm very excited about the prospect of these two. So, all right, thank you.
Yeah, just one more thing from me. I love the fact that we've got some staff members here that we can, you know, get to meet and to recognize and honor. And I just think it's so fitting because what 2 great people who are moving into retirement, right? I mean, so many times, especially since I've been here, where, you know, Amy Luffman has been like the rock of the ship, and, you know, and so sometimes where we had some chaos, and I'd go to Amy and I'd be like, what's going on, what are we doing, right? And she was, you know, we all know that there have been, you know, some rocky times here, and, you know, could not appreciate more, you know, you being there and everything that you've done. And, you know, Petra, the way that, you know, you built a program and built a community and the lives that you touch, and just all the dedication to the community of Mendota. You know, I don't wanna speak for the board, but couldn't be more appreciative of you 2 ladies.
Can I just say something real quick? When I attended Lincoln School here with Mr. Abel as my principal, it was neighborhood schools, and Petra was our school secretary. And having grown up, that this school is very special to me. And then coming and doing some observation hours in your room, when I was getting my ESL endorsement, and just how passionate you were, and seeing how far, like, you went from that school secretary and went back when you were raising children. You went through a lot of administrators after the rock here. Okay, but just seeing that, just how amazing you are, and just from that little second grader here, or that little kindergartner, to now being that adult that has went into admin and has just been in the classroom, I can't begin to tell you how much you have meant to me personally and professionally. So thank you. So, and seeing you here tonight, it's like, oh my God. Send me to the office.
Oh my God.
Send me to the office.
Yeah, I remember
And then having you here is also special.
There's no plan.
Actually, I would love to speak here. Yeah, no, I just think it'd be really interesting to hear us first year, like what, is it everything you expected? Are you feeling supported?
So much better.
Hey.
Holly was my principal. It's not.
Hey, I was not your principal. I was your dean of students, thank you. And I got in trouble for getting you here.
I got in trouble.
I do too.
But I feel very supported here. It is night and day difference. I love it here. I love Mendota, so I'm so happy to be here.
What about you guys?
Well, graduating and going to grade school here and coming back, and I've always said I wanted to teach at 289. I did my student teaching over at Blackstone, and now I'm here, and I absolutely love it. I know I can count on a lot of people here. I still am in contact with Reuter. I ask her all the questions. I ask questions over here all the time, so I'm so happy to be a part of this district.
I like it here.
I'm
not from Mendota. I'm from Peru, so it's nice to know a different area. So I kind of just dove head first too, because I coach at the high school too now.
Okay.
So yeah, I like the district. Everyone's really nice. Amy's awesome. She's great. She's helped me a lot. I kind of actually want to get my master's in special ed now after seeing her teach and everything. She's inspiring. So yeah.
For sure.
Means a lot, thank you.
It does, yes. Thanks so much.
What do you coach?
Cheerleading. Basketball cheerleading.
And I know that you would all love to stay, but if any of you would like to be dismissed and go about your evenings, please feel free. Please feel free to do so.
Holly, not you.
Holly's like,
Holly's
Holly's
out.
out of here.
I do need a photo with you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we just saw him too.
I saw that.
Can I get a picture?
There you go.
Tell me about it.
I'll talk to you later.
See if our
I think they're doing it. We're trying to figure it out on what to ask. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Like a good land.
Who doesn't need a land here? I don't know.
Okay, move right along. We had no board committees or reports, so we will move into board meeting dates for 27.
Yeah, just really cut and paste. It's the third Thursday, like always. The only exception to that is we moved the November one to the second Thursday this year to kind of work through and around the school board conference in Chicago. Everybody seemed to like that, and so we're going to continue with that model.
So any questions on it before we move to motion? We have a motion on it, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the board meeting dates for fiscal year 27.
Second? I'll second. And roll call.
Rack?
Yes.
Schrader? Yes. Spinoza? Yes. Haas? Yes. Reynolds?
Yes.
Udis?
Yes.
Wagers?
Yes.
So this is just something that we have to do every year by law. And it's just a combination of seniority and teacher evaluation averages, and it's just a bunch of numbers.
No anticipation of needing to reference
Nope.
this for that purpose. Okay.
Correct.
We don't have any questions, could we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the reduction in force seniority list as presented.
One second.
Second.
Roll call?
Cletus,
Yes.
Landers,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Haas, Schrader,
Yes.
Rack,
Yes.
Espinoza.
Financial report.
You all have your bound copy. Does somebody have the one that says Brad on it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you've got my notes. There we go.
I want the Brad copy.
So tonight, the part of your auditor is going to be played by me. And so I have, in your bound copy, I've actually tabbed and bookmarked some things. So I know that when the auditor goes through this, everybody's always fumbling around. And so hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. So just kind of as an overview, what does an auditor do? Right? So an auditor comes in, checks our numbers, right? To make sure that the numbers that we come up with internally, that everything's done correctly, that everything matches through, that when we say we've got $9 million in the bank, we really got $9 million in the bank, right? Okay, so we're gonna go through that. The second thing that they do is they check our processes. Okay. They will go through and say, here's one thing that they go over dozens of things. You know, they'll say, you know, what's your inventory system? How do you inventory everything? What's that look like? I bring up that because a couple of years ago they had a finding on it, and they said we need to do inventory better, and so we changed some things, right? So they check your processes, and then they give us reports on specific situations, like how much debt do we have? What does our TIF revenue look like? That kind of thing, okay? So you should all have a sheet that looks like this, and it should be in your book at page 9. Okay, and so this sheet is just a copy version of page 9. Okay, and so when we say that they check our numbers, that's what this page is doing. Okay, if you look at all of the yellow, okay, the yellow that's highlighted here, and then this number down here, $945,000. Okay, so they checked through our numbers, and they said last year we put $945,000 in the bank, which is very close to what we had in our books. Okay, so they're checking our numbers. The next row, or the row at the bottom, which is in green, when you add all of those numbers together, that's what we refer to as our M289 index. How much money do we have in the bank at the end of June in 2025? And again, it's that $9.009 million, right? So that this audit checks what we've done. We make a few corrections here and there, always, you know, within $1,000 somewhere the way. The way that our numbers, 99% of the time, the way that our numbers differ from audited numbers are the timing of things. When we start a fiscal year and end a fiscal year, we'll have it recorded one way. The auditors will say, no, you don't need to have it recorded this way. And so we usually have a little bit of discrepancy. But at the end of the day, whatever they say, that's the way we have to do it, right? So that's the first piece, is checking our numbers. So we like all that. If you go to the beginning here, right at the front, you go out 4 pages, and you should have a page bent over right here, right? And so if you go on the bottom of that page, you should have something highlighted in yellow there, right? And so in this year's audit, as they say in the report, during our audit, we did not find any, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. So in the past, where we've had finding 1, finding 2, we've had to correct some things, show them how we've corrected our processes. This year, we didn't actually have any findings. And we actually kind of want them to find a couple things to make you better, but that's okay. So what that tells us is that the way that we've separated all of our processes out, they think that we have good internal controls with the way our processes are working. So that's a really good check. Also, so then if we go to the next page that's been over, which is about page 4, you should have another little bin over here. If you go to page 4, this is one thing they talked about last year, and we'll try to get an amended budget done here this spring to take care of it. This is called the financial profile. This is a state board mechanism that tells you kind of what the health of your district is. So they have 5 major categories they look at: fund balance to revenue, expenditure to revenue, days on cash, short-term and long-term borrowing. And then they give you this score down here, and our score is 3.1, which they put us under the category of review. There are 4 categories. Recognition is the top, review, warning, and watch. The reason that we're not in recognition is because they don't like how we handle our construction. This reflects a lot of spending in Fund 20, and which could very easily move to Fund 50. That's actually what Russ suggested we do when he was here last time. And so if we can find the time to amend the budget, that's what we'll do and change that and kind of clean that up. But really no concerns there. That's that expenditure to revenue if we move some things over to site construction, which is where Russ would really like for it to be, then that'll clean that up quite a bit. And then the next one is, we go to page 39. Which you should also have a little tab done over here. Page 39 is the complete calculation. That entire page is the complete calculation for the per capita tuition charge. And so our annual financial report, which is a big part of this, what we refer to the bound copy that we're looking at. The annual financial report tells us the per capita tuition charge. So if for some reason we had a family that said, hey, we're gonna move to town next year, but we want our kids to start now, even though we're not moving in yet, can we tuition our kids in? We can say, yeah, but it's gonna cost you, $12,000 a year, however much a day that is, right? We would prorate that out. And then we would literally charge them tuition. Okay. That doesn't happen. That happens very, very rarely. I don't think it's happened since I've been here. But that's what that number is for. When you have kids that are from outside your district that are gonna attend your district for any reason, there are some very defined ways on how you come up with, or how your auditors come up with what you charge them. So that's what that calculation is. And then the last thing I wanted to look at is kind of back towards the end. It's in notes number 8. There's another little tab. Page bent over on notes 8. And that's a great little table of what our debt repayment looks like. So if you want to know what the debt repayment schedule looks like, at the top, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's what our debt repayment schedule looks like. If you look through this and have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call, shoot me an email. It's a lot of just kind of high-end auditor stuff, but if you see something that interests you or you have a question on something, don't hesitate to ask. I think we do a nice job of kind of talking through kind of where we are, with how much money we have in the bank and what our path is, and you know, we've had conversations about trying to flatten some of that out with our next, levy come, December. And so, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.
I do have one question.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, it's two questions. How long have we now been using these guys?
So.
We used to be with
Bill Newkirk, right? And so, Bill lost staff to the point that he had to reduce the number of clients that he had. And there are very few firms in the school auditing world, right? And so I think we've been a Newkirk client for a decade or so, and we couldn't get anybody to come on. I worked with Gorns is out of Peoria. I worked with them the whole decade. I was at Erie. I worked with them. Russ is great to work with. The high school district has been a client of theirs for years, and so I kept bugging him, and I'm like, Russ, I literally can't get anybody else. And so he's like, all right, fine. He said, we'll take you on, but your audit won't be done on time. I'm like, I don't care, that's fine. This is supposed to be done by the end of October.
And is this our first or second year?
So to answer your question, this is our second year with
Okay.
Lawrence. Yeah, and they've done a great job.
Gotcha. My other question that I had was, where you mentioned about what the tuition would be. I know we have the waiver. Do we have any teachers that utilize the?
I don't think we
did that.
We did last year,
Okay, I just was.
but not this year.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you discuss the portion in the initial page 4 where it's highlighted, where it talks about given the limitations? And it talks about how the limitations are, when you read above it, it's because the district is, the opinions were adverse due to the financial statements not being prepared in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things at play there, right? The overall, auditors like for schools to be on, an accrual accounting system, whereas we're cash based. So in an accrual system, you might actually record an expense or a revenue months before you actually write the check for it. Most school districts our size, I wanna say most, if not all school districts our size are on a cash basis. So basically, whatever our bank balance says we have in the bank on June 30th, that's the end of the fiscal year, right? It doesn't matter that we still have obligations for the next couple of months that we're going to pay. It's whatever it is. So that's probably the biggest one. The other piece to that is that we're not a huge organization. And so in a perfect accounting world, all of the processes to do with how money is handled would be broken apart by 8 or 10 different people, right? Whereas, Socorro does accounts payable and receivable, right? That shouldn't, in like a perfect accounting world of separation of powers or duties, that shouldn't be one person, right? And so to account for that, then we always put in a system of checks and balances, right? On how things are done. So, multiple signatures, multiple people looking at it, to cover for that. But, so that's kind of what they're referring to there, Teresa.
It's a pretty long, I just noticed, and I haven't read the whole thing obviously, but like note 1, which is referencing that accounting policy is this like 4 pages long, 5 pages long. So there's nothing else significant in that. Okay.
Nope. Awesome, thanks.
We have a motion for approval of the annual financial report.
I'll make a motion to approve the annual financial report.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Sanders,
Yes.
Haas, Reynolds,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
Canitas,
Yes.
Rath.
Yes.
1%.
Yeah, so I couldn't put my thumb on exactly, and I didn't look it up when exactly we discussed this last. So just as a review, the 1 cent sales tax is it's a 1 cent sales tax that is collected at the county level and is earmarked specifically for school facilities, school safety, and student mental health. And so originally it was facilities only, but in 2019 they amended the law to add a few of those things under the umbrella, which I think is great, because then, you know, one of the things that we've done as an organization recently was the need for an additional social worker, right? And that, one of the best things that we've done, right? But that's mental health. And so, so the fact that they broaden that umbrella a little bit, that it's not just spending money on classrooms and facilities, that's nice. I think, so in an overview, about half of the counties in Illinois have this. The last time that it was voted on in LaSalle County, I think, was 2012 and 2013. And I think that it got in the neighborhood of 45% yes each time. So it was close, but it hasn't been voted on since. The really appealing thing from my perspective about being, I mean, myself, I'm a LaSalle County taxpayer. I think the wonderful thing about this is we have 2 significant corridors through LaSalle County in 39 and 80. And we have, whatever the number is, 2 million tourists a year to Starved Rock. And so the amount of sales tax revenue that is generated by people who don't even live in LaSalle County. And so if we're able to capture some of that, I think there's a positive upside to that.
So Lee County does have it,
Correct.
and we get a significant check every year. I mean, significant considering the volume of kids we have from Lee County. Like, the per pupil amount, I guess, if you were able to multiply that times all of our students, would be a significant number.
Oh, most certainly. And so we have, I don't know what the number is, 80 kids from Lee County, give or take, and what do we get, 75,000 a year from those kids?
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
about
sound-
6,000 a month.
Yeah. So, I think the numbers are, and it was in the materials that I sent out. For us in LaSalle County, it would be about $1 million. You know, and if we were to say, even if we were to say, you know, one of the things that as the superintendents in LaSalle County that we're looking at right now is to actually come up with that number is how much sales tax is generated by non-LaSalle County residents, right? And so even if we said, look, if the number is 60%, 60% of the funds are generated from people who don't live in LaSalle County. Even if we say the 40% that we're collecting from LaSalle County residents, we're gonna use to abate bonds, it's still $600,000 that we're ahead. You know, there are lots of positives to it.
What are the
it-
negatives?
The negatives is it's another penny on your sales tax.
But I think it's important to note it's not on everything, so it's not on medicine, it's not on doctor's appointments, it's not on groceries, it's not on utilities, it's not on things, we kind of refer to this as like the entertainment tax. So it's if you go out to a movie or you go out for dinner, it's 1% added to your bill. So yes, it's more, but it's what called the penny tax, because for $1 it's a penny that goes in. And if you're truly going out to eat or going bowling or doing something that's like entertainment above and beyond and not basic food, housing, medical related stuff, typically the penny isn't noticed. And in counties where you have significant significant amount of travelers, it's huge, cause it does fund, and it also is important to note that it's based per pupil, it's not based on like which district is the biggest or the smallest, whatever's collected countywide gets divided by every single student that goes to school within that county, gets that same dollar amount, and it's a revenue stream. At one point, there was legislation in place where Illinois was gonna put it everywhere, but then they were gonna take all the money for the state. And since at least half of the counties do already have it, there was some significant lobbying to protect it from going to the state, cause the fear is we wouldn't get it back. Or we'd get it prorated back like everything else.
Like everything else.
Like
for
everything
sure.
else.
For sure.
So I think the hardest part about getting this passed in any county is the education around what it is taxed on and what it's not. And then unfortunately, it's the wording when it has to go on the ballot is incredibly confusing when it goes on.
Short of a thing.
So it is really hard to, I think if it's gonna pass in the counties that have seen it pass in, it's a very coordinated approach, educating every employee within your school district, every parent within your school district. If you get that full contingent to consider it and you market it to your homeowners that, hey, the needs of the district are gonna be met in a different way instead of passing more on to property taxes, it can be very successful. It's just a matter of a lot of people automatically vote no on anything related to taxes.
Well, and I think this Lee County's is significant because you think about what does Lee County have? They have Woodhaven, they have 5 campgrounds, you know what I mean, they have like
Dixon,
Teresa was saying, they have it's all that entertainment. So we, at my other place, then we give a significant amount of money back because of what people spend. You know, Brad's probably spends a lot at Woodhaven, or, you know what I mean, at the places in Amboy that, so gives it right back to.
Right. It's a matter of educating our homeowners to, like, people on tight income, they're like, I can't do another tax, it's not gonna come on your groceries, it's not gonna come on your medicine, it's not gonna come on your gasoline for your car, none of that is included, there's a whole list of exemptions, it's truly like the splurge.
Is there a way to
thing.
maybe like put it on a Facebook post, explaining a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the way a referendum would work, so in order to get on the ballot, the school boards of schools representing 51% of the students in the county have to approve it. So I think for years, part of the hesitancy in LaSalle County is that Peru, the city of Peru had their own 1% sales tax for this reason. Well, that's rolling off the books next year. And so as that comes off the books, then not only the school personnel, but hopefully the residents of Peru would be inclined to put it back on. But when you have a county, and every vote matters, but if you have pockets of Mendota, LaSalle, Peru Street, or Ottawa that aren't in support of this, then it becomes very problematic. So the school boards individually voted on, and as soon as enough boards decide to do that, then it goes on the ballot. And then once that happens, then it's there are certain things that schools can and cannot do, and school personnel can and cannot do with respect to supporting and encouraging people. I think that this is one of those things that it's all about information, and that's something that the school can always do, right? It's not a matter of saying, go vote yes for this. It's a matter of saying, this is exactly what this is, where it comes from, how it will be used by our school district. And so that's something that we can always do. So yes, it's a long-winded way of saying, most certainly it would be Facebook posts and town meetings.
Who led
and
that educational piece? Was that Bernard?
So this is, ever since I got here, at our regional meetings, which is mostly LaSalle County superintendents, a little Bureau, a little Putnam. I've been a huge advocate of this to keep this in the foreground. There are a couple of other area superintendents that have been making sure that this, you know, stays a part of the conversation. And so Bernardi Securities, we use Kevin. Think we're the only school in LaSalle County that uses Kevin. But that's because I've always had a relationship with him. John Vazzetti does all of the other schools in LaSalle County, and so I was at a meeting recently where we asked, as a superintendent group, we asked John and Kyle Harding, who's from Chapman Cutler. They're basically the law firm that's behind every bond issue. So whenever we sell bonds, we have to have all of the process and oversight approved by Chapman. So they were at a recent meeting of ours, and that was the information I copied and sent to you.
And John is a graduate of Peru and lives in Peru. And Dad used to be on the school board.
Yeah, and I think his dad was a banker.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, financial,
at least
yeah.
in the financial.
Yeah, so John is
yeah.
very invested in it, being that he's very tied to the Peru.
Yep.
So, as far as like what Jenny was saying with then like the educational piece, will there be like a committee, or is there like somebody stepping into sort of like a pro bono consulting role, or somebody that's gonna help to try to organize some of that?
Most certainly.
Okay.
Most certainly. And again, there'll be two sides to it. There'll be an informational piece that will be led by school leaders, and then those school leaders will then provide information to and help a community group that would be able to, you know, actually say yes, that kind of thing.
A teachers union is independent of the school and could choose to endorse a referendum,
Certainly.
and its members could choose to put financial backing behind it if they wanted to, or time or effort, but true, like, not at work, not on employee time, not district level
Correct.
staff.
Yep. So,
Did you want like straw poll interest at this point?
yeah, so most definitely. So one of the things that, you know, as the LaSalle County superintendents, we currently have a, you know, a shared Google Doc that says, would your board support this, right? And 2 years ago, we had this conversation, and I was able to say, yes, my board would support this. And so I just need that straw poll just to be able to say, yep, when we start tallying where everybody is, 289 is ready to go.
Are you having conversations with Denise, and have they discussed it yet?
I don't think they've discussed it as a board yet.
Okay.
The big question is Ottawa LP Streeter on board with this idea? I mean, when you talk about student populations, that's where it's concentrated.
Yep. And
do you have any feeling how those superintendents feel?
yeah, I think from my conversations, my perception, most of those that you just indicated are ready to go for this.
Why do you think there's a change this time than 2 years ago?
I think the big part of it is the fact that the 1% that was specific to Peru is rolling off. I think of that, so if you say that there are 8 or 9 kind of larger districts in the county, if I had to kind of in my head look at it, I would say that at least 6 or 7 of them would be very much in support of this. And the others would be more non-committal. They wouldn't be like, no, we're not. It just would be.
I'm not sure how their board would.
Right.
And even looking at those bottom 4 that are smaller, it'd be a no-brainer for them to say no, because it's gonna benefit them. You know, those ones with the under 100 students, that we know a couple of those districts, like, it would be a no-brainer for them to say no. It's gonna give money to their district.
Yeah, and it's, you know, if you have the conversation, both at the board level and at the community level, and people really understand that, you know, if a board could very easily say, we're only gonna spend the money that we know is not LaSalle County money. And that is, we're gonna abate on your property taxes. I don't know how you could say no to that. If I'm gonna get my property taxes lowered by money that's coming from the suburbs, okay. You know, as long as people really understand the way it works, even a school district of 100 with, you'd look like a hero to get it passed because you'd be lowering your property taxes.
Or you look at it the other, I mean, we don't have to do that.
No.
So you look at it too of what's our needs list for the next 5 years when we looked at that, and where does that, we know we can't do all those things because we can't pass that burden of the cost on to homeowners, but could we do things? Could we update? Right, are there things that we could do for our kids for, mental health support, for, obviously our facilities are, we have some facility needs in every building, and is there an opportunity to do things to make significant change in the daily experience for kids? I think it would be time to weigh that out. If you ask an average homeowner, like if the potential going down is only gonna benefit somebody, $12 a month, or could we do these many millions of dollars of work over time to the district and have this significant impact? Like, we could let our community kind of help inform some of that, but I think it's incredible. I've never seen a downside, to answer your question a while ago, Amanda. It's just a matter of people understanding and not just voting no. Yeah.
So is there, do I have a straw poll support, nodding heads of? Okay, that's the conversation I needed. Thank you.
Yeah, love it.
My pleasure.
Anything else? We are Northbrook next month.
Correct.
And we have a motion to adjourn, 7:40.
Make a motion to adjourn, 7:40.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're all good. Thank you.
We have to give this back, right?
No, that's yours.
This, it has
I
no
thought we had to
names.
give this back.
No names, doesn't matter, but